someone who is not just a qualified chartered accountant, but also a proud officer of the Indian Administrative Services. CAIS Harshita Guru.
And given that social media is a big, distraction these days.
So even if you sit for 12 hours, so it doesn't make any sense.
If you were to introduce yourself with only one prefix, what would you prefer?
I often say that when we ask for blood, we don't ask about the religion or the caste.
What is your view on the 18% GST for caramel popcorn that's been going on?
Not comment on that.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Vikasa podcast, where we bring you insights, inspiration, and incredible stories from the world of chartered accountancy and beyond. Today, we have with us a phenomenal guest, someone from the city of festivals and heritage, Vadodara, where her roots and experiences have shaped her remarkable journey. Someone who is not just a qualified chartered accountant, but also a proud officer of the Indian Administrative Services, CAIS Harshita Guru. Her journey is a shining example of what passion, perseverance, and purpose can achieve. From the rigorous path of CA to cracking one of the toughest exams in the country, the UPSC, she has redefined what it means to break barriers and aim high. Harshita ma'am is an inspiration for thousands of aspirants who dream big and work tirelessly for it. In this episode, we'll talk to her about her incredible transition from the world of balance sheet to the realm of bureaucracy, the mindset it takes to excel, and the advice she has for young professionals today. So sit back, plug in your earphones, and get ready to be inspired by the story of a trailblazer.
So first of all, good morning and very, very congratulations for cracking the IAS exams.
Thank you.
On behalf of Vikasa as well as the Vadodara branch. And so being a CA student also, we're very grateful to have you here. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is all mine to come here
Yeah.
and to speak with you all.
Okay. So to start with, as we were discussing earlier about us conducting a conference for the CA students as well, and our theme is based on Catalyst, Ignite Ideas, Inspire Action. So my question to you is, of course everyone knows what your journey is because it's been in the interviews so far. But what I would like to ask you is, what do you think was the catalyst for you in your journey that inspired you to move forward in the path of the Indian Administrative Services?
I would say it was my father because he was my prime inspiration for me to join civil services. And during my chartered accountancy journey, I never thought that I would be here and pursue the administrative services profession. But once I cleared CA and then I was exploring now what next.
Yeah.
At that time it was my father who told me that you can look after the syllabus and then you can decide.
Okay.
After I went through the syllabus and everything, then it automatically piqued my interest in civil services. So I would give credit to my father entirely for this.
That's nice. So it came to you after you did CA, or was it always in your back of the mind that
I always wanted, I had this feeling that I want to do something for the community. I want to serve in a way. And I was also a part of an NGO.
Okay.
Through which I used to contribute.
Okay.
But that was at a limited level.
Yeah.
So it was my father who told me that civil services can be the platform for you, where you can bring systemic change by being in the system itself. So you can bring change in the lives of many. That is what motivated me to pursue this.
That's nice. So my next question would be an exam like IAS, which is the toughest in the country, and you got AAR too. That's commendable. So was academic excellence always did it come naturally to you since childhood, or did you have to build it up?
It was not naturally because I have very strict parents who have always been you have to score good and you have to become an independent. But I would like to mention my mother here. So I lost her back in 2014. But her values, her teachings that I have to become an independent woman, I have to excel in whatever I do. that is what motivated me in every aspect of my life. So be it the curricular activities or the co-curriculars, wherever I have participated, I've tried to do my best, give my 100%. So I think in a way, this particular notion helped me in excelling in whatever I did.
That is true. Very important to like give your all in what you're doing. Right?
Do it wholeheartedly or don't do it.
Don't do it. Okay. So you mentioned like co-curricular activities. So what do you think, like how important is it for any student, be it a CA student or any field, how important is a co-curricular activity along with the academic thing or the studies?
I would like to give you my example. So during my CA days as well, I was very active with the co-curriculars. So whatever events were organized here by the CASA, be it singing or painting or the CA students conferences for the I was an active participant. So I participated as a master of ceremony. I also presented the papers in the conferences. So all of these helped me in keeping a balance between my academics and the co-curriculars. So it also helped me relieve my stress of the articleship days, which all of you would agree. And apart from that, it helped me build my character and personality. Because once you participate in all these activities, you get to learn how to develop leadership skills and also work with a team, which are essential for your overall personality. Because we often tend to compare the CAs with the MBAs, why they are better in certain aspects, but which is not true in a way, because we have a lot of potential, but we have got to highlight that by participating in these co-curricular activities.
So like you have been a CA for a while now, and you mentioned that you were a part of the conferences, the activities conducted. Do you think that added like to your resume, or did it give you an edge over the others when you had to start your corporate life? Was it helpful in a way to be like amongst the people socially? Because being a CA student, it's usually the only social interaction we get is when we start our articleship or like we get the OC trainings and stuff like that. So did taking part in such activities help you manage that better?
Yes, definitely, because once you participate in all these activities, you get to meet a lot of new people, and that helps you in networking as well, which is very important in a field like chartered accountants. So apart from the networking, it also helped me hone my personal skills, and which in way shaped my public speaking skills as well. So today I am right now in front of you and speaking. So in a way, the participation in those conferences helped me train my public speaking skills, which will be helpful in years to come, wherever I go, wherever I am asked to speak. So yes, definitely co-curriculars help a lot, and you should not neglect them.
Well, my next question is, as I mentioned, that CA is a journey where students usually feel very alone during the study periods especially. And a lot of CA students often go through this kind of a burnout mentally. So how do you think should they tackle that as a student?
Personally, what I used to do is, I used to keep a balance between the academics and my hobbies. So I like singing, I like making paintings, and I also love cooking, and hanging out with friends is another activity which I love. So I never kept a rigid schedule for myself, be it CA or UPSC. In both these journeys, what I did is I used to keep a flexible schedule, and what we call as a provision in accountancy terms. So I used to keep a provision of time for my schedule, so that I don't get burned out, I don't get tired in a way that I keep it entirely sidelined. So whenever I used to feel that I'm not able to study or it is getting a lot, so at that time what I used to keep my studies aside, and I used to start with a hobby which I love. So that helped me relax, that helped me keep calm, and it prevented me in getting burned out. So hobbies help me keep my mental stress away. And apart from this, meditation also helps. There are various types of meditations, not only one. So there is this mindfulness meditation, or you can hear to a podcast or a video guided meditation. So whatever works for you. Or you can simply do a breathing exercise whenever you feel stressed out. So there are multiple ways to release your stress, but you should identify what works for you. Apart from that, just simply chatting with your friends or sitting with your family, also helps you
Mentally.
Yes.
Okay.
So there are a lot of ways, but you have to identify. And you should never take your study days, your journey as a burden. Because in a way it is a privilege that you are getting to do that. A lot of students only dream of doing CA or UPSC for that matter. You should be grateful that you have got this journey in your life, and you should enjoy to any extent.
Okay. So, like, I would ask, what would a day in your life look like? Harshita Goel being a student. So, what was your schedule? How did you plan your studies? Because, of course, you achieved an All India Rank 2 in the UPSC exams and you're a CA. So, many students these days struggle with how to manage their time for studying. And given that social media is a big, distraction these days, people know that it's a distraction, but they still find it difficult to detach themselves from that. So what would you have to say for that? Like, how should they detach, and what would a day in your life look like when you were a CA student?
For social media, I would say that instead of detachment, there can be a healthy attachment. Because it would come as a shocker to you as well, but I was very active on social media.
Okay.
I never, deactivated any of my accounts or those during my study days. So what I used to do is I used to keep a balance. So whenever I'm studying, I used to keep my phone aside. No notifications, nothing of that sort. But whenever I'm taking a break, that time it is on me to scroll through the reels or whatever you like. So because you also need time to de-stress. You cannot work like a robot. You cannot be mechanical about your schedule. So I used to maintain a balance. I used to watch all those reels and scroll through them. So I loved to do that. So having said that, regarding my schedule, so during my CA days and my UPSC days as well, I am a person who loves studying in the libraries. So I cannot study at home because I feel distracted, and comfort level also makes me lazy. So during my CA days as well, I used to come here in the students' library. And my entire day used to pan out in the library. So this ICI Bhavan was like my second home in my CA days. So I used to come early in the morning after having breakfast at my home, and I used to divide my day in certain parts. So in the morning, I will take up a subject which is in a way stressful. And because in the morning our mind is more alert, at that time you can study the difficult topics. After that, after having a light lunch, in the afternoon you can take up a subject which you like, so that you don't feel sleepy. And in the evening, after having tea, after spending some time with your friends or the study group which you have, you can go about another topic. So this way my schedule was planned out. So my entire day was here only in the library itself.
So you mentioned that you would be here for a substantial amount of time while prepping for the studies. And there's a common question or a perception that you should study like 12-16 hours a day. Otherwise, you're not doing enough. That is a common notion.
Misconception. Is a misconception because I personally never studied for 12 hours or 16 hours a day. Never in my life. Not even for a day. So, personally, what I feel is that quality matters over quantity. So, even if you sit for 12 hours, if you feel that you're not focusing on whatever is in your hand, so it doesn't make any sense. So, instead of 12 hours, a qualitative 7 to 8 hours does wonders. So, if you take a book and you are sitting in front of the book and your mind is somewhere else, then it doesn't make any sense. So you should know that whenever, at what time you are feeling that fatigue, that at that time you should keep your books away, you should focus on your hobbies, or you should take a break. And whenever you are sitting to study, you should ensure that you are honest with yourself. You should ensure that whatever topic you are studying, your mind is 100% in the moment. Your mind is not wandering somewhere else. So that is what will help you spend that qualitative hours in your study time. Rest, it will be like I sat for 2 hours, but I can recall nothing.
So when you say that we need to, stay motivated and focused even for the 8 hours that we are studying, so how do you keep yourself motivated, even through the CA journey and through the UPSC journey? People face a lot of setbacks. They fail the exams, they have to restart all over again. So how do you think, what should be the mindset to make that period or that study period effective enough so that they can improve and bring about the changes?
Nobody stays motivated all the time.
Yeah.
There are a lot of moments where you feel those moments of self-doubt, when you feel that this is not for you. I also faced those moments in my life. If I mention my UPSC journey, I failed the prelims twice.
Yeah.
So we get to give our prelims exam once every year.
Okay.
So after I completed my CA journey, I started with UPSC and I gave my first attempt in 2022.
Okay.
And that time, due to my lack of preparation or guidance, maybe I couldn't clear.
Okay.
So I thought that maybe I would try again. So I gave it again in 2023 and then I failed again. So failing prelims twice, the entrance itself, it takes a toll on your mental health as well. And as I was seeing my friends, my colleagues, they were moving forward in their CA journey and they were earning well. So at that time, I used to feel that I questioned my choices, because a lot of my people around me also told me that why are you choosing UPSC? You are already a CA. So probably you should start earning, you should stabilize your career, and then you should think about marriage or something down the line. But I did not listen to any of them. I started with my UPSC journey. And when I failed prelims twice, it came to my mind as well, whether those people were right. But during those moments of uncertainty or demotivation, the why you chose this journey in the first place, that helps. So for me as well, I started reminding me that why I chose civil services in the first place. That helped me motivate. And apart from that, my family has been the biggest support in my entire journey. So my father never pressurized me that you have to do this, you have to achieve certain things. He told me that take a break, take a breather, do what you like. I love eating. I'm a foodie person. So he used to tell me that should I order something for you. So in a way, he motivated me by doing these small acts of kindness. So at that time, when I felt that my family is not pressurizing me, he is with me. So that burden just goes up. So that helped, and apart from that, you should have faith on yourself, because no kind of external motivation can help you. External motivation helps, but it has its own limitations. So at that time, your internal motivation, your internal drive that yes, I can do this, that's what helps you start again. So you should always have that confidence on yourself.
Like self-doubt shouldn't have no reason, right?
Yes, and self-doubt is natural, because we should not be overconfident about anything. Being underconfident is better in a way, because that keeps you grounded, and then that helps you have a learning attitude. But underconfidence is one thing, but you should also have faith that you can do it, you can learn, you have that ability in you that you can always adapt and learn new things.
So, like, if a CA student who is currently maybe, let's say, in their articleship period or still doing the inter exams, and if they want to do the UPSC, do you suggest them to start for it from now, or like what would you guide them? How should they go about it?
I would not advise doing CA and UPSC simultaneously, because both are one of the toughest exams of our country. So what you can do instead is focus on your CA preparation, but you can always start to cultivate a habit of reading the newspapers. It is never too late to do that. So if you are thinking about appearing for UPSC, so probably start a habit of reading the newspapers. I used to follow Indian Express. So not all the news are relevant for us. The political ones have more for our journey. So you can start with the newspapers, probably start with the NCRTs. So one which we have already read during our school days. Probably start with them, clear up your concepts and go through the YouTube videos. We have a lot of resources available online today. So you can go through them, you can prepare a strategy that once you clear your CA, how to start. So at that time you will come prepared. You won't have to spend your time wondering that what next, how should I start. So probably you can design your strategy beforehand. But at the same time, you should focus on your CA. Because it is in a way difficult in itself.
So now that you've experienced both the journeys for yourself, do you think they are similar in any way, or what are like the major or key differences between the two, that if a student who is pursuing CA currently is thinking of pursuing UPSC as well in the future, something that they should be aware of that is completely different in both the journeys, and one similarity as well?
There are a lot of differences because once I transitioned from CA to UPSC, it was particularly difficult for me because in CA we have a limited syllabus. We have a set of books, we are supposed to read that, we are supposed to clear out the concepts, and then we can apply for the exams. But in UPSC, the syllabus is ever expanding because there are a lot of current affairs and they keep on getting updated from time to time. So in that sense, it was a bit difficult for me, the transition phase. And in CA, it was all about the finances, accounts, and everything. But in UPSC, you are supposed to read a lot of subjects which have not been in your background. So I was taught polity, the constitution, and the science aspect as well. There were a lot of things which were new to me because after my school days, I never studied them for past 7 to 8 years. So it was difficult, but once I started getting the hang of it, once I started to learn the concepts, it gradually became easier. But having said that, there is one similarity that both CA and UPSC requires a lot of dedication, perseverance, and determination. That despite the magnitude of syllabus that both these exams have, one thing which is common is your own conceptual clarity, the faith that you have in your abilities. This is going to help you crack both these exams because anybody can do it. If people have done it. When I was a student in UPSC, I used to think that how can I score well, because if I have to become an IAS officer, I need a good rank. Because at that time I used to remind myself that people have done it in the past, so I can also do it. There's not anything extraordinary. Whatever extra is in that extraordinary is your extra hard work, extra efforts, extra determination, extra faith. That is extra in your ordinary efforts. This is what you have to put in your mind.
So as you mentioned, we as CA students know there's a lot of syllabus to read through and recall as well. Similarly for UPSC, the syllabus is endless, as you said. So like, were you a reader since the beginning, or is it a skill you developed? And like, if so, do you have any techniques or methods that help to recall for longer, or like how to call that?
I was not a reader, not a avid reader. So ये जो CA and UPSC की बुक से वही पढ़ लो, वही बहुत हो जाएगा. इसके अलावा की बात की बुक्स पढ़ने का टाइम नहीं होता है आपके पास. So the techniques which help me is constant revisions. One, that whatever you revise, say in a week, you can keep a day as a reserve, probably say Sunday. Revise whatever you read during the entire week. So that helps. Apart from that, you can discuss with your friends. So whatever you read, you can explain it to your friends. You can discuss. That will help you retain it for a longer period. And third is brainstorm. This is something which helped me. So you take a particular topic and you jot down everything that comes to your mind for that particular topic. So in a way, you'll get to know that how good your knowledge is on that particular topic. And then you can also identify your weak areas from that exercise. So these are the techniques which help me. Discussion with friends was one particular thing which helped me a lot during my preparation. In CA also, I have one memory that during my intermediate stage and the final stage, GST was one topic which I loved particularly. And I had a good hand on that. So I used to teach the GST provisions to my friends. That way, what happened was I could recall each and every section during my exams. So that way you can also discuss with your friends. You can have a small peer group, not that big, because if you have a big one, then there will be more chatting. So you can have a good set of student like people. You can discuss the topics.
So on a lighter note, as you mentioned, GST is something you like. What is your view on the 18% GST for caramel popcorn that's been going on?
I suppose I would not comment on that.
So like, apart from the CA perspective, being an UPSC and having this responsibility of, seeing how the law and regulation is about in the place you're posted. So like, what do you think is do you have a list of things that you want to change or bring a change about? So yeah, that's that.
one particular area is regarding the proper implementation of the government schemes. So in our country, our government is very active with respect to the schemes and provisions for the vulnerable sections of our society. But the problem is that they do not reach to the grassroots level in a proper way. No doubt our bureaucracy and our officers are working tirelessly, but there is a certain gap which needs to be addressed. So my focus would be to become a bridge between the government and the larger masses, so that I can implement whatever has been designed for them in a proper manner. Apart from that, I try to be accessible enough wherein whatever problems or issues that the vulnerable sections are facing, I can address them suitably to the best of my abilities. Another area would be with respect to the women empowerment, because I myself being a woman can motivate millions of women to come forward and to realize their own set of potential. In this, apart from the women, my focus would also be on the male sections of their families. Because if in my case also it was a male, it was my father who motivated me. So my success goes to him. That way, I will try to motivate the male sections to motivate their women to come forward. Because they have a lot of potential that they even do not realize. And skill empowerment would be another area in my focus.
Looking forward to seeing the females. And the next thing is that us in a society, and India being, an ancient country, but there has been instances or cases of discrimination, whether based on caste, whether based on income levels, etc., endless. So what do you think as a citizen or as even CA students we can do to take responsibility to bring a change about in the society for that mindset or that scenario? And how important is it to bring about that, break that barrier or break that discrimination?
See, the one you mentioned about caste-based discrimination or income-based discrimination of that sort, I think we can start at our home, because I'll be very honest about this, but I have seen a lot of families around me or people who still make this kind of discrimination. I can recall one example is whenever a helper or a maid comes to our house, probably we separate the utensils that we give, we offer water to them. Probably we can start with our homes. We can change this mindset of ours. We can start treating them at par with ourselves, and then we can bring about change in the society. It all starts at the individual level, which in a way collectively helps at the society level. Apart from that, with respect to our friends also, we can start meeting our friends from different castes at the equal level. And probably we can start to treat all the religions at par as well. Because I often say that when we ask for blood, when we are in need of blood, we don't ask about the religion or the caste from which that particular blood came from. So why keep those barriers, those discriminations in our mind? So we can start at our individual level. We can motivate others wherever we see that sort of discrimination happening. We can raise our voice, because if we remain silent, we are perpetuating.
So we move to the rapid fire round. Basically, I'll ask you a set of questions and you have to answer them as quick as possible, okay? So as you preferred, you used to come to the library and study, which gives a idea that maybe you're a morning person to start your studies with. But what do you say? Were you a morning person or a night person?
Definitely not a morning person. Not a morning person. I cannot wake up early in the morning. So I'm a night person.
Okay. So what would you prefer for your night studies? Chai or coffee?
Chai.
Oh, great.
But I had to take black coffee sometimes. I had my friends during my CA days who used to offer black coffee. And I used to drink that coffee, not to drink.
Okay. Next question would be most challenging subject in CA and UPSC.
In CA, audit. Audit is one which haunted me. And in UPSC, I struggled a lot with history, because in that we have to study and learn a lot of facts. That always made me nervous.
Next question, a book or a quote that changed your perspective.
I would say I had this quote that which goes by success is achieved twice, once in your mind and then in the reality. So this helped me in my journey and it helped me stay positive. So whenever I used to feel nervous or I started questioning myself, I used to tell myself that I have to feel that I can do it in my mind first, and then I can make it turn into a reality. So this quote helped me immensely.
Okay. Smartwatch or vintage watch?
Vintage
Vintage watch.
anytime.
Or anytime. Screen time, more or less?
More.
Okay.
Because as I mentioned that I
Yeah.
am active on Instagram and social media and also I love watching movies. So definitely more screen time.
Okay. Okay, so moving from the last question, we have a section named From the Gram, where we posted a story that you're coming. So we asked the students if they have any questions from their side. So I have a set of 4 questions which I would ask. First is, how did you manage your social life and studies together?
I try to maintain a balance. So whenever I was studying, I ensured that social media doesn't distract me. I used to keep my notifications off because it used to distract me easily. And whenever I was taking a break, I was free with whatever I wanted to. So at that time, social media was one thing, scrolling the reels was another. So it was a balance.
Okay.
And you can use social media in a beneficial manner also, because there are a lot of good accounts which you can follow, which can enhance your knowledge for CA and UPSC as well. So you should always try to do that.
Okay, so what would you say to the Harshita who gave her first attempt of the UPSC exams?
I would like to tell her that she should wait, she should have that patience, and she should not give up, because someday down the line in the future, she is going to achieve something big. So she should have confidence in herself.
What were the similarities you found both in the journeys of CA and UPSC?
Similarity would be the level of hard work which is required in both CA and UPSC, because both are tough exams in themselves, and it takes a lot of toll on your mental health, because it is a long journey, both CA and UPSC. So in that you have to stay motivated. So keeping a balance between your academics and your hobbies helps in both the journeys. Apart from that, having faith on yourself is another thing which is common in both these exams.
Okay, last question. If you were to introduce yourself with only one prefix, what would you prefer, CA or an IAS?
I cannot choose because I got my identity, my personality, my character from CA, which helped me in my journey to become an IAS officer. So all the level of determination or hard work or whatever you say, that I got from my CA journey. So I cannot distinguish or differentiate between them. Both are an integral part of me.
Okay, so coming to the end of this podcast, one last message that you would like to give everyone who's watching.
I would like to tell only one thing, that whatever you do in your life, do it with all your heart. Never do anything half-heartedly, because you may start it by external motivation or anything, but it will not help you in the longer run. So in order to stay motivated, it has to come from within. So whatever you do give your 100% and always be honest to yourself. You're not doing it for anybody else. You're doing it for your own good. And always remember why you are doing this, why you are doing anything which you have chosen. And remember that by doing anything, it will not only change your life, but your parents' life as well. So you are doing it for them. So always stay grounded, always be in touch with your roots, your value systems, and never ever let your success get over your head. Always stay grounded. So this is what I like to tell the younger generations.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming and taking out the time, especially on a Sunday. And we are really grateful to have you here. And as Barodians, we all feel very proud to see you at this stage. And
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So this was it for the episode. Vikas Barodra is honored and grateful to have hosted CAIS Harshita ma'am for the podcast. By the way, this was the first offline podcast, and we'll try to do more offline podcasts. By the way, if you have any specific suggestions or guest requests, you can also let us know on our social media handles. And that was it for today. Bye. Jai Hind.